Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us at KCBC, King's Cross Baptist Church, together to continue celebrating creativity and the arts, the creative and the arts, and last but not least, the creator. So this week we are looking at music, and we've got some incredible speakers for you. We have the amazing Marlusi, who is a worship leader, who has been involved in the planting of churches in Brazil. Am I right? Eunice, who is a cultural producer and events director. Am I right? Come on, guys. Can we get a woo? Come on, thank you so much. So before we do that, we're going to get into a quick game of Pictionary. And I'll bring the board quickly, so bear with me. So what we've been doing is we've been hiding Pictionaries on the seats and then getting the unexpected to join in the game. Thanks, Steve. Join in the game. So if you have one next to you on your chair, do have a look. I can see one next to you, Eunice, right on the bottom there. So, all right. You got it? Okay, Eunice, can you step right up and we'll have a go. Can you see the board back home? Do let us know, and also join in as well. So, come on. So you draw it, and we got to try and guess what it is. Okay. Oh, sorry, I keep taking the microphone away. Oh, okay. Okay. No time limit. Let's go. Okay, we got a person. It could be a woman. It looks like a woman from the shape, so good drawing there. Okay, we got a lady, guys. Wings, is that wings? Possibly wings. Angel, I've got angel. No. Is it a movie? Okay, guys, she's got a cape and a big W. Any guesses, anybody? I think we got it. Yes. Anybody? Wonder Woman. Yay! Guys, do join in back home. Are they joining in at home on the comments? Do encourage them. Do joining on the comments, guys. Okay, has anybody else got one? Kevin, you did jump right up, didn't you? There's just one right there, right beside you. Oh, go on. All right. If you just fold it in half, actually. Yeah, we've run out. There you go. Okay. Water. Is it water, guys? Are they joining in at home on the comment section? Can they see the board? Okay, we've got a boat. Okay, we've got a boat. Is that 3 people or just the boat? It's a boat. A rock? Is that a rock? Man Overboard, is that the right film? No. Titanic. Yay! Well done. Excellent. Was it the person on Facebook? Who was it? Let's see who it was. Cassidy. Go on, Cassidy. Well done. All right. None of us could get it here. So thank God for you. Anybody else? Okay, Steve. Oh, I took the pen. Here you go.
See if this works. With your nail.
Okay. Let's go, guys. Looks like a man, possibly. Oh. Okay, it's a woman. Definitely a woman. Okay. Trojan. It's a woman, a man running. These are really good, isn't it? Something fighting. Gladiator. But we've got a woman on Dirty Dancing. No, Grease. Not Grease. When it's a dancing song. Anybody? Grease, Dirty Dancing, Footloose. Disco. What was the disco one with the same guy? No, we've got. Is that a book? A Bible? A musical? Kind of. Anybody at home? Come on, help us out. What one did they say?
No, it's kind of like that. This guy.
Troja. Has it got John Travolta? Name of a film. A woman. A woman? No idea. Uma Thurman? Is it Uma Thurman? Quentin Tarantino.
Samuel L. Jackson.
Is it with Quentin? Oh my! I know this. It's a cult film as well. I don't know what it is.
He also did.
Oh my gosh! It's on the tip. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh. It's got Samuel Jackson. It's got John Travolta and Uma Thurman. Oh my gosh! This is a really big film. Anybody? Do you know? Quentin Tarantino film. Come on, guys at home. It's on the tip of our tongue. We can't get
People
it.
on the internet is engaging.
Pulp Fiction. I didn't look it up. I didn't. Yeah, but I didn't. I answered before them. Huh? No, I don't know the answer. That was legit, guys. Okay, that was a good one. Finally.
Yeah. He's shocked.
Oh my. Guys. Terrible. Yes, come on, Ma Lucy. Come right up.
All right. This is going to be a very difficult one.
Another film. Did anybody get it online? No. I have no idea. Any guesses at home, guys? Any guesses at home?
Oh my God. I just can draw sticks figures, man.
You If it's running out, the red ones. Okay. Is that a gun?
Yes.
A gun and is that a building? What is that? A letter? A letter? Is it a building or a letter? It's like hieroglyphics, guys. Someone shooting someone. No idea.
Oh, yeah.
Is that goggles? Glasses? Glasses, him being shot. This is a hard one, guys. Anybody at home? Is anybody at home? Help us out, guys, at home, because we're struggling.
Why did I get this one?
Whoa, we're struggling.
Shooting a blind man.
No. What's going on?
Right. Oh, this pen is horrible.
Yeah, use the red one.
Come on, guys. You can read stickers.
Oh no. Hieroglyphics and. What is this? Not Romeo and Juliet. Is that an alien or a person?
Sort of, man. My sticky.
Oh.
Alice could do better.
Oh no. Anybody?
Oh my God, I couldn't remember.
All right, we're going to do a 10-second countdown and then we're going to give up.
This should be the clue for the whole thing.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6,
No,
5,
it's a code.
4, Matrix 3.
Yeah!
Second one, guys.
Matrix!
Yes, the Matrix.
What is Alice?
Well done. Okay, guys, that is the end of our Pictionary. A little warm up. Get your minds in gear. Oh, thank you. We are going to start with our talk now. And again, I'll introduce the amazing Eunice. Please step right up. Woo! Come on, guys, make some noise. You got a mic? Okay, just make sure it's on.
1, 2. I should note this is music though, so if I don't know if the mic's on, that's a real big problem. Sorry, I'm just going to look for a few of my notes. So, I am an event producer and cultural producer, and in true form, unfortunately, and very ironically, I haven't fully prepped for today because I've been so busy. So I'm just going to share a bit about who I am, what I do, why I'm been asked to sit on this chair because of music, and yeah, just how, yeah, I'll get to that part about how it really fills me and God's part in that for me. So my name is Eunice Obianaga. I am a cultural producer and event director, and I have been doing this for about 10 to 15 years now. And if you don't know what a cultural producer or event director actually does, what I do is I work under my own business name called Inspire, which is basically my name Eunice, begins with E, and the word inspire. Mixed it together. So that should give you a little bit about where I'm coming from and what I'm about as well. So in terms of what I do on a day-to-day, I work with clients and I go and help them unpack and deliver their creative visions basically into event form. So we will start off thinking about a concept at times, and then we will think about who the team is going to be to put that all together. And then we'll think about how we're marketing that to make sure people actually come to the event itself. Then we will implement and execute the event as well. So these are all the different event stages that you have in putting together some sort of music or any type of event really. And then we will evaluate it together, which is also a very important part because we want to know that we've done what we set out to do and done it really well. So I will come in at any one of those points in the journey, walk alongside them, and yeah, just help them unpack their vision and unpack their dream and what they want to achieve. So that's anything from live music concerts, festivals, conferences around the music industry, award shows as well, and I'll come a bit more so to what else, or the other sorts of events that I do, and even crazy things like flash mobs in the middle of Marble Arch. That's something else that I've helped put together, and also TV production as well as another part of my work. My work, live event TV production. So again, I'm just going to keep this really relaxed and chilled. I'd never planned to do this job, never. Didn't even know this job existed. Really, I really didn't. My passion is wholly and fully music. That's how I ended up here. I've loved music from as small as this, really. And one of my very earliest music memories is sitting in front of our TV. And I don't know, some people in here might remember, but there's this thing that's called a Betamax tape. I don't know if you've heard of a Betamax tape before. And I'm not showing my age because these were recorded before I was born. My parents used to record old music videos on the Betamax tape, or VHS is the version after that. And they had this, they'd play musicals, and they'd also have this show called Soul Train, which was an old program, like a bit like lots of musicians would come on, have a performance, and then a presenter would present somebody else and present someone else. So one of my oldest memories is sitting in front of the TV with my parents having put this Betamax tape in and watching Soul Train, and watching people like Sister Sledge on there, and Isley Brothers, and then also, again, I'm just going to reveal what a geeky sense of music I have, Doris Day films as well. Oh, I love a Doris Day film, I do. So my passion has always been music, from then also to listening to my brothers, listening to hip-hop in the room next door, and me having my ear next to the wall and enjoying that, all the way into school. So yeah, my passion is wholly and fully music, and for me, for me, I feel God's presence in it. That's what music means to me. It feels like God's presence. And I always say to my friends, imagine in the morning when you get up and you listen to a track, that track will stay in your head for the whole day, right? Look at that power. For me, that's the power of God and the influence of God. And if you harness that, you can change the world, really. I think that's, for me, what the power of music has, and the influence. And yeah, I can't equate it to anything else but just the feeling of God and the presence of God and what God sounds like and feels like to me. So that's me and music and how I started on my journey. So again, just taking you back to the beginning and just being a real passionate person about this, studied music at school, did my GCSEs in that, and then went on to university and decided to do a business degree solely because everything is a business and I wanted to go into the music business. And then learned things like accounting, marketing, what else did we do? All kinds of different things, really. And again, just with the passion of wanting to get into the music industry. So now, how my baby steps into it as an actually becoming a working person in this was that in my university course was actually meant to be a 4-year course. Instead, in the third year, you're meant to go out and do work experience of some sort. And me being like, I want to work in the music industry, I want to work with music. Obviously wanted to go and work with music. That opportunity didn't exist. So in the summertime, I started looking for my own opportunities, really, and started volunteering and finding opportunities to do work. And those were some of my first steps into working in the music industry. So I kind of say, well, I can actually think I can claim that my career started at probably around the age of 15, really, if I rewind back. Yeah, just wanting to get involved in absolutely everything and being involved in absolutely anything related to music. So some of the things that I have worked on include Notting Hill Carnival, which you might have heard of, which is a big street party that happens around Caribbean music. So I've worked for I've worked for them as an organisation. This is when I was really early on in my career, and as an event assistant. And I will never forget that experience because it was literally walking around and putting up the crash barriers along the streets. And that was one of the first experiences where I've never felt so tired in my whole entire life. Being out on the streets late at night, putting crash barriers out, and then sleeping in vans, and then going home half asleep, coming back the next morning. So Notting Hill Carnival being one of them. Worked on live music nights with artists who are big household names now. For example, used to work on a night called I Love Live. And we had the likes of Emily Sandé come in at the very young age, Ed Sheeran as well. This is when he was quite early on in his career, and he'd come in with his foot pedal and his machine and his microphone and do his bit that you've probably seen him all doing now. Jessie J, Tiny Temper. Really early on at the starts of their careers as well. Was involved in things with them too. Fast forward a little bit more so now, and actually no, I'm going to take you back. So I'm going to take you back to when I was probably around 19 or 20. And I tell this story because, again, for me, it's just another example in my life and my career as to how God orchestrates things. And how when you step forward, he kind of moves into the space with you. So again, I want to work in the music industry at like 19, 20 or something like that, and went to a music conference with my brother. And at these music conferences, there's usually a panel of very important people from the industry, and then the rest of us sitting in the audience, listening and gaining information from them. And so they'd all got up, and it's time for networking at the end. And I was like to my brother, oh, I don't really want to go up there. I really want to go up there, but I don't really want to go up there. But I want to go up there, but I don't really want to go up there. And he's like, just get up. They're human beings. Go and speak to them. So I got myself up, and went and huddled around one of the groups of people. Didn't actually speak to anyone, but just listened. But the organizer saw me and said, hi, how are you? And I said, hi. And what are you here for? I said, well, actually, I'm looking for work experience. I want to really get into this space. I love it and always have done. I used to, sing through school, etc. He said, all right, well, I've got more of these events coming up. Do you want to come and volunteer? And I was like, yes, please. And it happened to be across the road from my house as well on top of that, which was a result. So from there, I started working with him, then went on to project manage album projects for him, so 3 album projects because he owned an independent record label. And part of that was bringing together about 30 different aspiring artists, producing a record with them, and then putting on a live show. One of the years, I don't know how this happened to me apart from God. One of the years, there was an opportunity to take 5 of those artists over to Atlanta, to do a process on the record called mastering, which is basically putting the fine finishing touches to a record. And so I got to be project manager on this, took 5 artists over to Atlanta. And then also on top of that, we were mastering the album in one of the biggest in the world, record producers in the world, called L.A. Reid. And so I was walking through studio hallways with gold and platinum plaques on the wall of people like Whitney Houston, Sierra, and all the various people that this man has kind of worked with. And I always tell that story to people because, A, you never know where God's going to take you when you step out of your seat. And I say it as a reminder to people as well that, you have to get up and you have to put yourself forward to things, because imagine if I hadn't have got up and if I hadn't have listened to my brother, I wouldn't have had any of those experiences per se, and one thing led from another. And the second reason I tell that story is because it's always really important who you have around you. The influence of my kind brother and the influence throughout my career of people has made such an impact on my life, and me furthering myself. So that's a bit of my career history, where I am now. I wear a lot of different hats. When you're in the music industry and creative industries, you tend to wear a number of different hats. So just before I sat down, I was asked, what title should I use for you? And I was like, which one am I going to go with? Because you end up doing lots of things, especially in my job as an organizer, essentially, around music. So right now, one of the roles that I have is as the director of events and special projects for an international UK-based award show called the MOBO Awards, which is some of you might have heard of before. And that's been running for 25 years now, and this is the organisation's 25th year. We're going to be celebrating, and it was developed with the desire to shine a spotlight and recognise talent that wasn't being recognised by the rest of the industry, to bring equality to the music industry and to enable people that were creating black music and black artists as well to have a moment, because it's such an influential, black music is so influential to the music scene generally, but often the people making the music, which can be from any background, and the people and black artists don't always get the credit that's due to them. So this event was created 25 years ago and is still running now and still doing successfully. And again, another blessing in my life from God, because that again came basically from somebody who's a mentor of mine, asking me what I'm up to, and I said, I've just come back from a trip from Kenya volunteering for 2.5 months, and I was like, well, I want to get back into music again. And she said, well, I know somebody who's working with this organisation. She's looking for somebody to kind of be an assistant. And I said, okay, I'm up for it. Had the interview, and here I am 16 years later, still working with them, and having gone from being an assistant to production manager, production coordinator to event manager, I'm now running the awards show for them. So for the last... it's a woo, because God's enabled it to happen, but again, you just never know what's going to happen and where he's going to lead you. So for the past 4 or 5 years, I've been working on this massive show, which is, to put into context, ordinarily without Corona, we would be in an arena venue with about a couple of 10,000 of people and producing a show, and that would be my job. So there's moments that I feel really blessed, one of them being the last show, the arena show we had, and standing there with everyone zooming past me and just looking around and thinking, wow, how am I part of this, and how did I manage to put this together? And just being really thankful to God for the strength that he gives and the people that he gives and the opportunities. So that's one of my roles. Also work independently. I've just made my company limited, Inspire, as I've said, which means that I'm now a limited business and go out into the world, and I have clients within that framework and structure, where before I would have been working as an independent freelance person. And again, really grateful for the journey that he's taken me on with that. And in the last year, like I said, there's been the MOBO Awards. I also do some projects and work in Nigeria as well. So the beginning of last year, I was the project manager on The Voice Nigeria for the first year of it coming to Nigeria. It's previously been produced in South Africa. So again, another blessing that's come through. Working with organisations like NBC, Universal as well, over the last year. And then I get to work with some really amazing organisations as well alongside my work. So I'm also the chairwoman for an organisation called Small Green Shoots. And just again, in keeping with my desire to help inspire and to help people reach their potential, I'm working with this organisation as the chairwoman of the board for an organisation that basically takes young people, a lot of the young people who are from disadvantaged backgrounds and maybe just don't see much hope in their horizon, to be honest, and brings them into the office, gives them office skills and work skills, and then goes and plants them into the music industry, doing jobs like Sony Records, for example, or publishing companies. And again, that's just such a blessing to be part of. So we had a massive event in King's Cross, so down the road from us, last week, where these young people produced a full-blown event down at Granary Square, outdoors, with artists like Ray Black and Shay Lingo and House Gospel Choir. Look them up if you don't know them, all very amazing artists. And they produced this event all by themselves, and there was a really beautiful moment that I had, and it really blessed me, where one of the previous, we call them shoots, because Small Green Shoots, and they become young shoots, and then they become shoots. One of the previous shoots came up to me and was like, "Hi, Eunice." I was like, "Hello." And it's like, do you remember me? And to tell the truth, I remembered the face. I'm really bad with names. And I was like, yes, I do. And he's like, yeah, it's, and he said his name. I said, oh my God, how are you? And it was such a warm and touching moment to be remembered for my work, and also to be, just to be part of his development and his growth, and to be able to see somebody who has gone through music and used music as a platform to go on to other things. So that's one thing. And then I also am the co-founder and trustee for a music development organisation in Nigeria. So again, very much in keeping with being able to inspire and develop and release potential, myself and some of my friends birthed this foundation in Nigeria, looking at how do we harness the power of music to see how we can transform the economy using music in Nigeria. So I'm sure you guys all enjoy dancing and listening to music and enjoying it as an art form, but there's actually economical power in music. The UK government, for example, I think music contributed, if I'm correct, 5.2 billion pounds to the UK economy. So as much as we all, we listen to it and we enjoy it, it's actually an asset, and there's actual economic value in the industry. And that's something that we want to use for Nigeria. I'm Nigerian, if you're wondering why. I'm Nigerian, and I'm really passionate about my motherland and my fatherland. And so we want to use that power and see how do we transform the economy, how do we transform the landscape. There's a lot of people listening to Afrobeats right now, listening to music from South Africa, East Africa, but there isn't the infrastructure around it to help it earn the money it needs to. So our role as Echo Music Foundation is to support that. And again, for me, that's really a God and a heart matter around justice for me, ultimately. And seeing how we can use music as a way of bringing more equality and justice, creating jobs for people, building infrastructure in the country where it needs it as well. So yeah, that's a bit about me in short, and what I've been trying to do. And yeah, I feel really, really blessed by music and just the way that God has carried my career, really, and enabled me to do some extraordinary things with, I hope, so much more to do. And I really carry with me the scripture about salt and light, and being that in the world. And I think, again, music has the power to help people be that, really, and draw people in so that they can really discover what Christ is and what his love's about.
Woo! Thank you so much, Eunice.
Okay,
so many
it's
good
all
gems
good.
that I'll take for myself as well. Really encouraging. We are now going to have Marlucy up, and then we're going to have a Q&A.
Sure, no worries.
So we're going to
I will hand over.
Yes, please. Marlucy, do come up. Thank you so
No
much,
worries.
Eunice. So many good gems there. There was something in particular that really stood out to me. I think it was the coming out of your comfort zone. Definitely that. Marlucy,
Are you going to interview me?
I'm not going to interview you.
Man.
But we would love to hear about your journey in regards to being a worship leader, in regards to music, how God influences your ministry, and some of the work maybe you did in Brazil with planting churches and being a worship leader there, and here as well.
Okay, I'll confess one thing. When I got your questions this afternoon, I thought to myself, oh my God, I'm going to feel like in an interview room with those questions. Eunice, amazing. I have known you. I had no idea about the magnitude of the work that you're doing. God bless you. Yeah, so, well, I don't have like a big story like Eunice, like pursuing like the career in music, but I started my journey in Brazil when I was young and younger, like not many years ago. And like I've always been passionate about music. My mom, she gave me my first guitar when I was 7 years old. And then she signed me up for the music school, and I felt like that place was not for me at all because I so wanted to play the guitar, and they wanted to teach me how to read music, and I was like, when am I going to get the guitar? I don't want this. I want the good stuff. I ended up giving up school. My guitar was there in the corner for 4 years, and then age 12, I was like, you know what? I'm going to teach myself how to play guitar. And then I just started playing, and here I am. So my journey in Brazil was like, I used to play in bands, rock and roll bands, carnival, and I met Jesus when I was age 18. And by the time, she was just talking about carnival. I've been to Notting Hill Carnival because I just lived there, Westbourne Park. You guys used to pass in front of our door, like amazing people dancing and, the whole stuff. Similar to Brazil. But I hated it, like being there and have to play because we had to work. We didn't get the fun stuff. And it was really hard work, like stay up for 4 nights, playing carnival, and people like using drugs and going crazy. And I just wanted to sleep. But age 18, I met Jesus, and my life just changed completely. I left like this whole life of like playing secular music and in the band to be caught in a scenario of the church because I so wanted to pursue Jesus and his kingdom and what he had for us. I had no idea by the time where God was going to take me and what was going to happen to my life. It's funny enough for us, sometimes we think like, where do you see yourself in 10 years, And then if we go back and see where we were, and we can't imagine, like, when we live our life with God, the ways that he's going to take us, and how he's going to guide us in things. So I got converted in a small church, Baptist church, and then I got involved in a church in Brasilia called Comunidade Evangélica in Brasilia. There, God gave me the opportunity to get involved in the worship ministry. I used to feel like I could never do this in the church because I was so used to do this in the world. In the world, like we are not ourselves. We just perform what other artists does, like, Guns N' Roses and other artists. So we kind of like try to imitate them as best as we can singing. And I used to come to the church and see like those ladies singing so high tune. And I was like, oh my God, I'm never going to be able to sing in a band like that in the church because my voice is too low. I can't, like sing like them. And then one day, the pastor of the church, he didn't know me. He saw me in the back and he called me up and said, come here, God gave me a vision with you. And I said, really? He said, yes. So share with me. And then he said that God was giving to me something in the music that was going to be special to bless church and his people. And I was like, that's great. And then he said that he had a vision of us playing in a place where there was like a crowd of people worshiping God. And then 2 years later, I was like in the church band, and we were in Brasilia. They had like a worship conference there in front of the parliament, and I was playing for this crowd of people. And then he came to me and he said, see, God has something for you. My life went up and down, like, for all these years. But I have always been involved. After that, we went to Belo Horizonte, to Gethsemane Church, and I got my first job as a worship leader there. We got a chance to record many CDs. There was a time in Brazil where the gospel was just like blooming, like many bands and artists coming, and recorders selling a lot, making a lot of money with the Christian music all over the country, and people getting converted, artists getting converted, actors and actresses. And that was like a very like special moment, But with every special moment, we see corruption coming together. And unfortunately, like many people that got involved in like engaged with the whole artistic gospel thing, they just ended up lost. They made a lot of money, but the marriage was destroyed. They got involved in drugs and, like a lot of tragedy. And my life changed completely in 2005 when I had the opportunity to come here to the UK. And I was living like a very difficult moment in my relationship there with my previous partner, and like our marriage was just like broken and everything was just like collapsing as a result of many years living in a church and dedicating your life not to your family but to the work of the church and to the work of your career, traveling, recording and doing this and that. I came here and God had like something different for me. I remember that when I arrived, like I lost everything. The relationship that I had there, I had to leave my kids behind. It was a very difficult time in my life. But one thing that was always and will always be my treasure is Jesus. You know, like many people when they face difficult moments, the thing that they think is like, I'm gonna give up, I'm gonna put a bullet in my head, that's it, it's done, it's done. But when you have that person that can hold you on in the difficult moments, you just carry on. You go through the storm, and then you get to the other side. You're going to have more storm coming, but you know in who you can trust. So I got engaged in CCL Church in here, and then Westbourne Park Church as a worship leader. I'm just trying to make the long story short. And yeah, so I went to Brazil again 3 years ago for 2 years, and then we came back to the UK. So it's like this whole journey, working with church, you know, and during the time that I came to the UK in 2005, I went through a process of restoration in my life, which was very important. Pastor Steve was part of it. You know, we cried so many times. I cried. He didn't cry, but he prayed for me, which was great. Yeah. So, and here I am. You know, like I was just gonna ask Rochelle, like if you want to make like a kind of like a interview and just ask questions, you know, because one of the things that she was mentioned that, and I also want to ask Eunice this as well, because she has been like, you know, together in the thing. For me, I found really hard when I was like playing in the night, you know, like as a secular artist in Brazil. And there was a moment there when I really felt like I need to give up this life to embrace what God wants for me, because I so want Jesus and I want His kingdom. And somehow I could not see how these two worlds could get together, you know, and work together, especially for me as a young Christian, leaving behind all the old men, you know, like the drinking. I wasn't like, it's not like too much drink, but like dating and going out with boys and having like the Guns N' Roses style thing in your head and the whole like crazy stuff that we used to do by my time. That was crazy. Today is light. But anyway, to leave that life behind and embrace what God, you know, have for us. And I found really difficult because what God spoke to me in one night that I was playing, the last time I played in a party, I was feeling like I was like, God, I wish I was in church, and I'm here, and I have to work, because this is my job, that's how I pay for my rent, that's how I pay for my bill, how I eat. What am I going to do? And those people, like, they were drinking, and they were, like, drunk, and, you know, husband was bringing, like, their lovers to the place, cheating on their wives. I just started to see this whole thing happening around me while I was singing a song, and that shocked me. That scenario shocked me, because I was like, God, you know, I want to sing life, and I want people to feel encouraged when I sing. I don't want just be here like singing like, oh, so you can have the desire of drink more, and if you are depressed, you're going to be more depressed, you're going to leave this place, and you're going to continue with your miserable life. You know, that was something that I really struggled with, Eunice. If you want to come here, please, join me. Yeah, so, and
Sure.
I found this really hard, you know, like, and I'm curious about you, like, because obviously, I'm just going to move the chair. So you've been like, so like among artists and everything. My question for you, I'm going to make the question for her, because she's right there thinking about
the
this.
Q&A now then, guys.
Yes, come. That would be just my question. So I found hard, and then that moment when I said, I don't want this anymore, God. I don't know how am I going to eat tomorrow. What am I going to dress? Because this is what I do for a living, but I will trust in you. And I have been working with church since then. So I saw God's provision based on the decision that I had. So for you, how does it feel like? Have you ever caught in a moment where you doubt things, or you saw things that are kind of like, oh, this is really hard, and how did you deal with it? Like,
I think because I work in secular music. But for me, I feel like that's the space God's called me into. For me, I don't feel it feels genuinely from the beginning. It's always felt like God wants me to be in that space, and so similar things that you're saying, that you're in environments where people are smoking weed, they're drinking, like, and not just drinking, they're drunk, yeah. And I suppose for me, it's like I'm very aware that I'm carrying Christ in that. I think that's the pressure, and I think people actually even more so know, maybe not so much at the beginning of my career, but they genuinely know now that I'm a Christian as well. And for me, it's important they know that, and it's also important that I represent that well. So I think the other thing I'll say is as well that as much as I like to be, I've got loads of friends within my career in my industry that I've grown up with through the years, but I also have friends that are not part of that scene too. And I have a life that's outside of that, and I've had really strong Christian influences through my life as well, which I think has really helped make sure that I don't get sucked into anything that I shouldn't be part of as well. And the thing that's really I've felt really encouraged by is that actually by sharing my faith or allowing people to see that I have faith, I've discovered other people in my industry that are Christians as well, because you don't know, you genuinely know, and that's been a really big bugbear for me for a long time, is that who's out there? I don't know who's there, and I think when you don't have fellowship or people around you, it's very easy to fall into bad spaces within the music industry. And I'm just going to be really real, it's not a nice place. The music industry is not a nice place per se. There's a lot that goes in there, that it goes on within it, that is just so against what Christ is about. But for me, that's the reason why I feel we need to be in there. And we need to also have a home and a church and a family and a people that can send us out, and people within there that you can say, you might not have a conversation about Christ every day with them, but that you know that there's others that are going through the same journey as you as well.
Yes.
But yeah, I genuinely have felt like actually being within this kind of secular music world is where God wanted me to be. And actually, I didn't mention this, but there was a period in my career where I was working for a Christian organisation, actually, and that pretty much took me away from doing my work within that space. And I can't remember my headspace at the time, but I vaguely remember actually maybe feeling a bit like, I don't really want to be part of this space, or I need air almost. But then I did feel God saying, actually, no, you need to get back out there. I need you to get back out there. And yeah, so and also the thing is as well is that maybe the difficult thing that I've found is that people have found me different in that sense, because I don't drink, I don't smoke. I've kind of stood out, and that's been difficult at times, if I'm really honest, because people have been like, oh, I remember one person saying to me, oh, you're a bit of a strange one, because I said I didn't want to drink, and I was like, okay, so yeah, so that's been a challenge. That's been my personal challenge, is being different within that space, and people recognizing that, but equally. Being really blessed by people recognizing or knowing that I know Christ and feeling like they can come and talk to me. Like, it's making me feel emotional, and I feel like really honored that people would feel like because of Christ they can come and share things differently with me. Yes. It makes a difference. It really touches me. Yeah, it really does touch me when that happens, and I feel really grateful by that.
Amen. Yeah. Oh, that's great, Rochelle. Come on, Rochelle.
Does anybody else have a question for the ladies? Anybody? Okay.
I've got a question for each of you.
Me?
Both of you. Eunice, what's been your greatest obstacle or challenge in your work? And Mahalusi, in the worship scene, we're blessed in this church, and have been since I've been here, to have a great music group, and that when you were working with me in West London, again, great worship group. But I know that many churches don't have good musicians. How can they use music in their worship if they don't have a good musician, not even one sometimes? So those are my two questions. So how, obstacles and challenges, and how does a church without music, without musicians? In my first church, we had an organist who was not a Christian, and I sacked him. He was choosing all the hymns, all the traditional songs, And so for a year, I used to lead the worship. I would sing, we're going to sing number 52, and I would hope that I hit the right note. That was our worship for about a year. And then a guy joined us who played the guitar really badly. But he played, and that was it. So, yeah.
Do you want to go first?
Okay, go for it.
What's my biggest obstacle? I would say that I'm my biggest obstacle, if I'm honest. I'd say I'm my biggest obstacle, and getting in the way of what God's potential for me is what I'd say is my biggest obstacle, and potentially forgetting sometimes that actually He's leading the way, and actually I need to consult Him more, and getting out of my own world. And actually He calls us to do great things in the world, and to not be afraid of stepping into that, and actually taking my eyes off of myself and what I'm capable of, and recognizing that actually God's doing this for you and for me. So I'd probably say I'm my biggest obstacle a lot of the time.
Pastor Steve asked me a very difficult question. It's like, I think the first answer would be hire a good worship leader for your church and a good musician. I don't know, because there's a difference between singing and playing with excellence and worshiping God. I truly believe that for the church that can afford it, hiring a worship leader and musicians would be a key in terms of having the good performance and the music coming in. However, there are churches that can't have that. So to worship God, you just need really voice and hearts connected to Him. I have been to places where people are just worshiping God with nothing, just a little, guitar or a percussion instrument, and the churches start just singing. They really sing together, giving their hearts and everything. So there's two different things. Whatever church scenario background you have, if you don't have musicians and, people to do this stuff, and you can afford, praying in God and bringing someone in to make the change, is fine. If you can't, the hearts must be connected to God. You can still worship God with your voices without instruments, really. So,
do you know what that's made me realize? And we've had really good worship leaders in our church. The idea that of not having one just boggles my mind now all of a sudden, because I'm thinking about our church. We've actually always had somebody, and that's a real blessing. And actually, there was somebody here that came to this church a little while ago, and the culture of their church was not to have any music. So, as you've said, it's about the heart position, isn't it? And what you're bringing. And I always say as well that everyone can hold a note. Everyone can hold a note. Whether it's in the right place, like Pastor Steve said, is a different thing. But everyone can hold a note and make a noise for God from the heart.
Absolutely. It's just sometimes people, they want you to change. They said, how can I improve the worship in my church? And then if you're willing to get someone, to bring someone like Alan or whatever, the worship leader, that makes a difference. It can help to organize things. Worship is heart.
I've got a question for Eunice.
Okay.
Sometimes I can be like you were saying, who's the person that gets in your way, the obstacle, and sometimes for me it can be me. And my struggle is as an artist is that it's not so much producing the content, but it's getting it out there. There's this idea of always that it has to be perfect before I release anything, which has stopped me from releasing anything. Would you say that obviously quality is important as well, but would you say it's more important to at least get something out there than to try and hold back till you get this? I don't know.
Yes, and what I'm going to say to you is that you're not the only one. What you said, I've had conversations with people about several times. I think it's a big thing for artists is their work and being good, and also you're almost going, here's my heart, everybody, have a look at it, enjoy it, or don't enjoy it, but don't tell me that you don't enjoy it because that's going to break my heart and it's going to break it. So that's pretty much what you're doing as an artist. So I think you need to give yourself a break. What I've started to kind of say to people is that actually you do need to put something out for your own confidence almost, and for you to be, it's important for you to put something into the world. It doesn't have to be perfect. It should be good, and I'm not going to say it shouldn't be good because it should really be good. But you definitely should put something into the world as well, and it will give you a boost as well. And also, again, people are your biggest assets in life. That's what God's given us people for a reason. You will probably be more critical about your work than people around you. And even if people around you are, and good people around you are giving you feedback, it's constructive. So listen to that. Don't hold back what God has given you. Put that out. I'll give you an example of my own personal example, which isn't music-based. You'll never see me put music into the world, I don't think. But it's about my own business. So, and I don't think, this is going out on video, isn't it? So here we go. Let me put this out as well. So Inspire, I hated that name when I came up with it. Like, as in, I hated it. I was like, but I couldn't think of anything else. So I was like, oh, all right, God, I'm just going to go with this. I can't think of anything else. It's not actually what I like. And I struggled with that for years. That's one, okay? Secondly, this is in more recent years, I created my Instagram page, I created my website. Did I tell anybody about it? No, because I was like, oh, I'm not ready to go out into the world. Oh, people are going to see me. Bearing in mind that I've been working for how many years and people can clearly see me, I was still very like, oh. However, 2019, and I had, like I said, I've had my Instagram page and my website up for some time now. I won't tell you how long before that because it's embarrassing. But 2019, I sat on my bed and I was like, what's wrong with you, Eunice? Like, why are you not putting this stuff out? Like, you've done good things. This is the mental conversations that I have with myself. You've done really good things, and God's really kind of opened doors for you. Why are you not sharing this? Sat on my bed, and I shed tears about putting out my Instagram page and sharing it with people. And then in that moment, I was like, okay, I'm just doing it. And sometimes you just have to do that. You just have to suck it up and just close your eyes and do it. And I did that, and I wrote a little message and said, right, I'm really scared about doing this, but you are my nearest and dearest, so please can you follow my Instagram? And I sent it out. Sent it to 25, and people responded and started following. I was like, oh, okay. Sent it to another 25. By the end of it, I was like this, and sending it out to loads of people. And sometimes, like I said earlier, you just have to get out of your own way, trust God, and it will be what it's meant to be. But just do it and then see what God does with it.
Does anybody else have Okay. I feel like now that I have you there, I'm like, I want to ask some more questions. But I'll save that till after. Yes, well, let me run back on screen. Thank you so much, guys, for your testimonies. Just so inspirational, so informative as well, and encouraging. And I hope it was for you guys at home as it was for us here. Please do stay on, because Lucy is going to do a couple of songs for us this evening. Let me just position the camera. She's going to bless us with some music. And again, thank you, Eunice. Thank you so much. Let's get a zoom in of Eunice. And we're going to have some music from Lucy.
Amen.
There we go.
Right, this is not my song, but I think it talks a lot about where I have been in my music career and where I am right now. Okay. Getting tangled.
I've
searched the world, but it could not fill me. Man's and praise, treasures and faith were never enough. Then you came along and put it back together, and every desire is now satisfied here in your love. Oh, there is nothing better than you. There is nothing better than you. There is nothing. Nothing is better than you. There is nothing better than you. There is nothing better than you. There is nothing. Nothing is better than you. I'm not afraid to show you my weakness, my failures and faults, but you've seen them all, and you still call me friend. For the God of the valley is the God of mountains. There is no place mercy and grace won't find me again. Oh, there is nothing better than you. There is nothing better than you. There is nothing. Nothing is better than you. Oh, there is nothing better than you. There is nothing better than you. There is nothing. Nothing is better than you. Oh. Amen. One song? Okay, so I think this one everybody knows. If you want to sing with me, I'm just gonna change a little bit the lyrics. Instead of darling, I will sing Jesus, so we can sing it together. When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light we see, so I won't be afraid. No, I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me, Jesus, you will stand by me. Oh, you will stand by me. Stand by me. Stand by me. If the sky that looks upon should tremble and fall, or the mountains should crumble to the sea, I won't cry, I won't cry, I won't shed a tear, just as long as you stand by me. Come, Rochelle.
I'm coming.
There you
Yes,
go.
this is the end of our night tonight. Oh yeah, night tonight. Thank you for joining us at home, and thank you for joining us here. Eunice, thank you so much. Lucy, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next week we will continue our celebration of creativity, but it's going to be a my mind's gone blank. Open mic, thank you, Steve. It's going to be an open mic night, so do come if you do poetry, spoken word. My mind's gone blank again. Music. I was thinking of comedy as well, actually. But yes, do come along to share your talent. It will be a great night. And that time we will have cake and ice cream again as well. So do join us. Again, just very quickly, we are here to celebrate the creative, but it's all about the creator who's created every single one of us in his image. And we too mirror his creativity in all the things that we do. So Eunice with music, Lucy with music, the actors last week, and I forgot what the other week was before now. Fashion, thank you so much. Eunice should be up there now. But thank you again for joining us. Do join us next week, Thursday, 7 a.m. at Breve, KCBC King's Cross Baptist Church. Bye-bye. Thank you. Woo!